How can Congress and the Senate and the President sign a $1.3 trillion bill, but yet none of the members even read the bill? That is the topic of today's Op-Ed Live, and I'm your host, Michael Wan. President Donald Trump threatened to veto spending bill over DACA, border wall, the past 24 hours. But he just signed the $1.3 trillion omnibus spending bill a couple hours ago, despite an earlier threat to veto the legislation. Trump didn't like the fact that the bill did not include enough border wall funding. And he also wanted to include the DACA deal. So Trump signed this 2,200-page bill reluctantly. He said he is signing it in order to secure a necessary increase in military spending, but he also had to give money to Democratic projects. And the bill doesn't include a clause that withholds federal funds for sanctuary cities, which Trump threatened to do for a while. Trump criticized the Democratic projects as a wasted sum of money. He said that this is not right and it's very bad for our country. But he said that military spending was too important to veto the bill. And Trump gave out a warning after he signed the bill. He said he will never sign another bill like this. This is what Trump exactly said. And I quote, "As a matter of national security, I've signed this omnibus budget bill. There are a lot of things I'm unhappy about in this bill. But I say to Congress, I will never sign another bill like this again. I'm not going to do it again." Trump also said the gain on the military spending overrode everything else. Trump was considering a veto of the omnibus spending bill based on the fact that the 800,000 plus DACA recipients have been totally abandoned by the Democrats. Trump said it's not even mentioned in the bill, and the border wall, which is desperately needed for our national defense, is not fully funded. The House adjourned Friday morning until Monday, meaning that if Trump had vetoed the bill, then the government would have automatically shut down. Trump ended the DACA program in September of last year, which gave Congress a 6-month window to come up with a legislative fix. That deadline was supposed to be on March 5th of this year, but it got pushed after the Supreme Court decided to wait until the appeals court's decision regarding DACA, which I thought was kind of funny. I thought that the Supreme Court weren't supposed to be political. But anyway, at this point, the fate of the 800,000 enrolled recipients is still uncertain. And Trump was generous enough to offer 1.8 million illegals pathway to citizenship. In return, Trump wanted $25 billion in funding for the wall. And Trump additionally wanted a change for the immigration system regarding chain migration and the lottery system. Chain migration meaning he wanted to end the chain migration completely, and also he wanted to completely end the lottery system. He deemed it just too dangerous. The omnibus spending bill includes provisions on everything from gun violence to immigration. The spending bill only includes a puny $1.6 billion for border control, and much of that money will be for repairs to already existing fencing. And it rules out any new prototypes of the kind President Trump viewed last week in Southern California. But House Speaker Paul Ryan and the White House has pushed back against the criticism regarding the bill. They claimed that the bill provides for 100 miles of border construction. Yeah, Mr. Speaker, but the people wanted one of the prototype wall. So this bill has divided conservatives. The establishment loves it, as always, but other conservative groups, like the Freedom Caucus, hates it and thinks that this is a slap in the face to Donald Trump and also the American people. Democrats are loving this bill, which in itself is very alarming. And we all know that Democrats are now just obstructionists at this point and going against Trump on every single turn. If you look at this bill, it is also supporting open borders. The Democrats like the fact that Trump's requests for more Border Patrol agents were not included. Because the Dems are always for open borders, where illegals can constantly pour over here. It is fair to say that Democrats do not believe in border security. And none of the congressmen or congresswomen and senators read all the 2,200 pages of the new bill. One of the biggest failures for the conservatives is that it had failed to defund Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood is a huge nonprofit organization that is infamous for its abortion practices. And they are also involved in a huge scandal of selling aborted baby body parts, which is just despicable. And the ever-controversial sanctuary cities issues was not covered in this bill at all. Many Republicans rationalized that this bill is a good thing. It's a good thing because there is a massive increase in military, and also there's infrastructure spending, as well as funding to help combat the nation's opioid crisis. Well, I always thought that the Republican Party was a party that prouds themselves of being fiscally conservative. I mean, $1.3 trillion bill, this is the second largest spending bill, and no one has even read the bill. This is insane, and this is why we call the Washington, D.C. establishments the swamp. I think the bill should not be an omnibus bill from here on out, and should be divided to parts so that the congressmen and senators can actually have time to read the bill. The timing and situation was bad too. Trump had almost no choice but to sign the bill. Most lawmakers have already left Washington for a 2-week recess, and some members are already on their ways overseas. Some conservatives applauded Trump's calls for a veto. Senator Bob Corker from Tennessee called the bill totally irresponsible and encouraged Trump to veto the bill by tweeting, "I am just down the street and will bring you a pen." And the Freedom Caucus were behind Trump as well. You know, I believe the Freedom Caucus are the best group among conservatives. They are definitely not with the establishment regarding on spending and on taxes. The Freedom Caucus tweeted this: "We would fully support you in this move, Mr. President. Let's pass a short-term CR while you negotiate a better deal for the forgotten men and women of America." Now, CR means continuing resolution. And the guy who hates large budgets the most, you know, the guy who's always against big government, Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky, tweeted that Trump should veto this sad excuse for legislation. But according to Fox News, it was Defense Secretary James Mattis that pushed Donald Trump to sign the bill because it had the defense increases that were needed in a hurry. Like I said, we should stop doing this kind of omnibus bill that reaches 2,200 pages. Who wants to read this kind of stuff? I mean, most people don't even read a 1,000-page novel. Most American books, I mean, I'm talking about thick ones, are not even 1,000 pages. Probably 800 pages tops for me. I believe you have to divide these kind of bill part by part and let it go through Congress on separate bills, where Congress and Senate and the President can actually read and understand. And most importantly, you have to be able to make the American people understand what their representatives are signing. Whether it turns out to be good or bad, we should at least know what we are doing. Well, that's our show for today. Our show Op-Ed Live is not about left or right. It's about what's right or wrong. To stay up to date with our latest videos, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel by clicking subscribe. Thanks for tuning in.